My name is Constanza Alcubierre, and I will be talking about the end of World War II and about some specific events that occurred during this period. Many things changed once World War II was over. Much of Europe and Eastern Asia had been destroyed by the fighting and bombings that had taken place over many years. Also, many countries' borders needed to be set and governments reestablished where Germany or Japan had taken over. In Europe, Germany had occupied much of Europe during World War II. Many of the countries in the West returned to the same governments and borders they had prior to the war. However, Germany was divided up into Eastern and Western Germany. About Japan and Eastern Asia, the US and the Allies occupied Japan. They maintained control as Japan recovered from the war. Japan would become an independent nation again in 1952. After the war, many leaders from Japan and Germany were brought to trial. They had violated the rules of war according to the Geneva Convention and had also committed crimes against humanity. These crimes included the Holocaust, slave labor, and the terrible treatment and torture of prisoners of war. Many of these leaders were executed for their crimes. The Allies formed the United Nations in order to try and prevent World War III from happening. The United Nations was formed on October 24, 1945. There were 51 original member nations, including 5 permanent Security Council members, which are China, France, the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States. On April 4th, 1949, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, was established. This military alliance of Western countries was formed in response to the growing rivalry between the Soviet Union and its allies. Originally, NATO was composed of France, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Netherlands, United Kingdom, United States, Canada, Denmark, Iceland, Norway, Italy, and Portugal. These two alliances, NATO and Warsaw Pact, would take part in the arms race war called the Cold War. The Cold War never escalated into full war due to the fear of what would happen to the world if many countries started dropping atomic bombs. The Cold War would last for the next 45 years. The New Order of Europe was the political order which Nazi Germany wanted to impose on the conquered areas under its dominion. The establishment of the New Order had already begun long before the start of World War II, but was publicly proclaimed by Adolf Hitler in 1941. The year 1941 will be, I'm convinced, the historical year of a great European New Order. June 6, 1944 was a decisive moment in the war. The Allies invaded France throughout Normandy on that day, which has become known as the D-Day. The Allied offensive succeeded in driving the Germans out of France, making the occupation complete by freeing Paris on August 25 of the same year. From that point on, nothing could stop the advance of the Allies on the continent. At this point, Germany found itself virtually closed in between two fronts, with the US forces pressing in front of the West and the Soviets on the East.